to see you guys. Thank you guys for showing up on this Wednesday. And it's the last call for December. And it's nice to connect with you guys. Three rules is silence your phones. You want to focus and not be distracted. Number three is listen with the intent to apply. You want to listen and make sure you take action afterwards. Number three is just keep an open mind because you don't know what you don't know. So let's go. My name is Crystal. Some of you guys don't know me because we got some new faces in the familia. So welcome. I'm Crystal. I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been in the company for almost 6 years now. It's wild. So Abby told me to share some things that I learned this year, and hopefully you guys can learn what I learned too. My number one biggest breakthrough this year was mastering the 1, 2, 3 system. Like we hear it all the time, but we get so excited, especially when we first lock in and we want to use all the products. I had that issue where I wanted to do crypto, I wanted this educator, I wanted this educator, this strategy. And listen, guys, all the strategies, all the educators, they all work, and they actually have to go through a quarterly test to, see if they're a great trader and they're actually making profits. So just pick a strategy and an educator that resonates with you and is easy to learn from, and just take action. But the 1, 2, 3 system is connecting with the community. Always connect in the chats. You're not alone. Before, when I first got started, I started learning Forex on my own, and it was very hard just me reading this blog and taking action, but I couldn't ask questions. I didn't have anybody to talk to. And here, all of us have so many years of different experience, and we're all learning in different areas. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Um, Another thing about the 1, 2, 3 system is making sure you watch the beginner videos when you first get started. They're like I think they're less than 5 minutes each, so you should get through them pretty fast, and that will help you with the basics before you get into the go live. And then there is the go live where you set up a schedule and you pick your educators. The thing that I was missing though is being a product of the product and using our apps and tools, which is Blaze and Swipecoin. We have the the scanners Impulse. There's a lot of scanners actually, but even Swipecoin has a scanner. But my thing that I mastered, I said, I've been caught up and I work 2 jobs, guys. I work 2 jobs and I'm really busy. So sometimes I get into the employee mindset of I need to use more time to make money. And I have to keep reminding myself, yo, I really need to learn the skill so that my money can work for me. And right now, guys, crypto is popping. If you had built your portfolio and you put even a couple $100 in there, you gained a lot of money just by putting your money in there. Like, come on, guys. Don't sleep on this. I'm telling you, like, you only have 24 hours in a day. Think about it. Are you worth $15 an hour, $18 an hour? You are worth more than that. And I'm telling you, once you realize that, you will start making more. So definitely master Blaze or Swipecoin because you will earn while you learn. And I'm telling you, can't. Nick and Mike are beast educators. They're my favorite educators. And I've been testing out their trades for a whole year and they hit. So let's go. And just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Before, I would like to do too many things at once, learn too many things at once. And do you know what focus stands for? Follow one course until successful. So focus and get to the point where you use Swipecoin or Blaze. secondhand nature. You see the alert and bam, you know how to take it and you just take it, whatever you're doing. It only takes like 30 seconds. Follow directions. Yeah, follow directions. We've all made so many mistakes. Me personally, so many. And just learn from the people that have made mistakes and you will definitely succeed faster. And step out of your comfort zone. Get to know people that are in the group chat that you don't know. Like connect with them on a deeper level. You never know, like they might know something that you need to know, or you're into the same thing or something. And that's one thing that helped me grow is going to the events. We have live events here, or we have Zoom calls, and me connecting with the people online and then me getting to meet them in person has really helped. And me just knowing what they're learning too. And that helped me get to know Mornings with Nano. It's important to do your personal development and work on your mindset. Because I'm telling you, if you don't work on your mindset, you're not going anywhere. I'm telling you. Like you could literally, there would be times in my growth where I would be at home and I wouldn't even leave the house and I wouldn't even do anything, but I would work on my mindset and it would attract me to the things that I want and I've been thinking about. So definitely work on your mindset. And I really like Mornings with Nano because he's on Mondays through Fridays and he helps you grow all over, like your mindset, your health, your finances. He tells us about going over our budget at the end of the year and really knowing where our money is going so that we're able to invest in crypto more. And I want to end with this is well, two things is do things that scare you. Because this year there was times where I knew I needed to do something, but I would literally be shaking. My hands would be shaking, me getting out of my comfort zone. And then like it all just paid off. I'm telling you. And the last thing is I want you guys to do is because it's December. We have only a few weeks before January. So I want you to write down these 3 questions and really sit down with yourself and go over with it. It's what did I do well this year? Right? Everything you've done well. And I know sometimes I think this is really good because sometimes we have trouble telling ourselves that we did a good job or acknowledging that we did something, a small win, like nothing is ever good enough. And I have that feeling. So it's good to be good and speak good to yourself. Number 2 is what didn't you do well? And number 3 is what are you going to focus on for the next year? And I actually went to the Eric Worre conference this weekend, and he was saying how like really think about where your focus is going, because where your focus is going, that's what's growing right now. So if you don't want to be, I want to be vulnerable right now is I had some times this year where I never felt like this before, but it was hardcore spiritual warfare, and I didn't feel good enough. Like I just felt like what I was doing wasn't good enough, and I just didn't accept the progress that I had. And I realized when you talk to yourself down like that a lot, it really will show on the outside. Like you'll start doing things to put yourself down. So really be careful with your self-talk and really stay close to Jesus, because that's the one that's going to get you through the fire. Okay, thank you for listening, guys. I want to bring on Abby, my sister. Let's go, Abby.
Let's go. Let's go. Guys, can we drop some sevens in the chat? Can we show some love for Crystal? I could stop the call right now. We're done. That was it. She hit every nail on the head, like keeping it simple. Plugging into the platform, doing the things that we already know that we should be doing, getting outside of your comfort zone, which I'm so glad that you touched on that because we're going to talk about that over the next few minutes. But guys, just show some love. I've seen Crystal now over the last few years, friends and acquaintances in the beginning, and really just seeing her over the last, really, these last 12, 24 months, even our walk, in faith, seeing her truly, truly become an embodiment of what it looks like to walk in a growth oriented way, and just, be a servant leader, and put herself in places and positions where she's able to stretch, she's able to grow, she's able to make an impact beyond herself. And I'm just so proud of you from, watching from afar, and, meeting up in person, throughout the month, and things like that. And I'm just so excited to see who you're going to continue to become, what God has planned for you, what you're going to continue to walk in with Him going into the new year. And thank you again so much for coming on, and just really lighting the way, just really illuminating that path for everybody to see, like, this is simple. Be consistent, show up, do the things that, we have in front of us, follow your plan, follow the directions. And it's cool to see your results, your progress that you've had so far from just becoming a product of the product. So sis, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for pouring into the team and being available for us this evening. So guys, we are going to jump in, really just piggybacking off of what Crystal just shared. And I hope you guys took notes. I hope you wrote some things down and follow it. She literally just laid out the plan, the blueprint, like the platform, this whole it's a journey, but it's simple when you follow the day-to-day things that create success, that are required for you to grow. And so what I want to just share, don't worry, Dustin, it's recorded. We'll post the recording. But what I wanted to share tonight, and really just, again, tagging off of what Crystal shared, is the recipe for growth, the recipe when it comes to creating that next level version of yourself. And I think we can all attest to this. I've battled, different things this past year as well. And I think we all can, in our own way, say that, there have been obstacles, there have been things that have come across our journey where, they look like roadblocks, they look like stumbling blocks, they look like, or appear to be something bigger in the physical, or sorry, in the mental and the spiritual and the emotional. But in reality, it's just something we have to address. It's just something that we have to take accountability for. We have to see this from a new lens, a new perspective. And I want to bring this from a place of, yes, we're going to speak on some characteristics, but I want to relate it back to what we're doing here in a very practical, very realistic way that you can apply immediately. So I want to encourage you. I want to give you some perspective on how really to view yourself and what you're doing here from a growth oriented lens. And if you were on last week's, or the week before that, we had the call Build with the End in Mind. It's going to kind of also tailor from that. That recording is also up, laying your brick day in, day out. And so just kind of like what Crystal said, coming into the last few weeks, this is probably, going to be the last team call of the year. Coming into the last few weeks, just want to be really mindful, just be really intentional. I hope you wrote those questions down as well, to really just kind of self-evaluate where you're at currently, but be very intentional about where sometimes we think we are versus where we actually are. There's this kind of game I know I can play in my head with what I think is actually happening versus what is actually happening, what my desires in my flesh are wanting versus what is real, what's actually the truth. And so just really going into that mode where you can be very transparent, you can be very accountable, you can be very real and honest with yourself. Where am I actually at against what I've been thinking this entire time? And so I want to share just 3 characteristics, 3 attributes, 3 qualities that will help you reveal if you're operating from a place of growth, having that growth oriented mentality, heart posture, the whole 9. Number 1 is be faithful. And I'm gonna kind of go into this first one for a hot minute, because I feel like we can hear this word, having faith, and I'm not the expert when it comes to what it means to have faith, or, what the word says. I'm just going to share from things that I've heard from even our Go Live sessions, from some of the services that I've heard from my pastors, or, personal experience. I want to bring that to the table. I want to shed some light for you guys. But what does that mean to be faithful in retrospect to what we do here? What does that mean? What does that look like? It means showing up, right? being consistent. But I want to talk about consistency real quick because a lot of times you don't have to drop it in the chat, but maybe you can relate to this where I will oftentimes hear or even hear myself or other people say, I wish I was more consistent. I just need to be more consistent. I've been inconsistent. Let me tell you, your consistency is rooted in your faithfulness. Your consistency is rooted in your faithfulness. I'm not consistent. That's not the issue. It's your faith. Where is your faith? What do you believe to be true or not true? We only take actions on the things that we believe or we don't believe. If you don't believe that trading works, investing works, then you're not going to show up on the sessions. You're not going to take the trades. You're not going to document your setups, your results, your execution. If you don't understand the purpose and the vision of doing those things, you will not take action for a very long time, for very long. You're going to be out of here. I would say most people who can outlast their first 6 months, you will find your way. If you continue to allow yourself to unlearn the behaviors and the attitudes that have kept you in bondage for pretty much our entire lives, and you allow yourself to operate from a new place, a new understanding, a new way of thinking and doing things, if you can outlast, number one, your first 6 months, you've already made it past like the 90%. I've noticed most people that can't make it past their first 6 months, like they're a lost cause, and they're going to jump from one thing to the next, trying to find that one thing, that it factor. And it's like, you're the it, you're it. You've got to work on yourself. And so if you don't understand the purpose or the vision of doing those things, then you won't take action for very long. You lose sight of the why. You lose sight of the vision of where you're going. And I'm not talking about sight, I'm talking about vision, what you can see with your eyes closed. You will always find yourself back at square one, saying how you're not consistent. Consistency is an identity. I am consistent not because of what I do or the results that maybe I see, but because it's who I am. The results maybe I see or I don't see. I am consistent. You are consistent because it's who you are. It's who I am, what I believe. And I can tell you it's your faithfulness to the right things. We can be faithful to the wrong things, and that's not going to get us anywhere. It's your faithfulness to the right things that's going to, one, lead to fruitfulness, which will lead then to your growth and hopefully your impact. Hopefully we're not just here to, make some money and walk away. Hopefully we're here to develop the right mindset, develop the right skill set, actually go through a transformational process where you come out on the other side, not just getting a result, but being able to sustain that result. And I'm tying everything back. I hope that what I'm saying right now is relating to the journey. I'm not leading you to an outcome. I want to make sure that you get through the process, you outlast your process. Everyone that's here has started in like, we all have the same starting line, but we're all starting in a different place, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, you name it. And that's what's going to determine let's say, the speed at which you start to see the results that you're looking for. But I can tell you it's your faithfulness to the right things that lead to your fruitfulness, which will lead to your growth and hopefully the impact that you'll be able to make. So how, people say, how did you get so far? And trust me, I'm still on this journey just as much as you guys. I just hit my 8 years inside of this platform, and God willing, I'll be here for, another 8 years, whatever that may look like. I am grateful not for the financial gains, not just for the financial results, but for who I've become in the process. How did you get so far? What did it take to get there? Whatever that may look like, whatever that may be, just kept being faithful. My response, your response should be, I just kept being faithful. I just kept persevering. I just kept showing up when the going got tough, because when the going gets tough, it's the tough who keep going. I know it's cliche, but it's true. When the going gets tough, the tough keep going. Your faithfulness is going to get you into places. This is something I think everybody needs to write down, because sometimes I've even caught myself in this place throughout my journey, where I'm relying too much on my talents. I'm relying too much on my giftings. I'm relying too much on the previous highs, the previous success. And that's not what's going to create longevity in the results that I'm looking for. Your faithfulness allows you to get to places, get into places, see things, be a part of things that your talents and your gifts won't and cannot sustain. I think something that I've seen over the last few years, I get concerned when I see people, and I'm saying all these things because I want you to be reflective here and now and after this call where you are at. Like I said in the beginning, I want to give some perspective on how you can identify if you're operating from a growth oriented place, not based on where you think you're at, but based on where you actually are. I get concerned when I see people who come in and they have quick success or quick results, whatever that is, or they come in with unrealistic expectations because fast, one, does not last, and second, our expectations do not necessarily equal to what's required. Just because we expect something doesn't mean that's reality. That's not always what is true, and most times that's not what's true. We don't know the journey ahead. We don't know what it takes yet. We have to be, which I'm going to get into, we have to be teachable. Our expectations don't equal what's required and what your individual process looks like. So something that Jay Awal talks about a lot. How many of y'all tune into Jay Awal? He always says, just keep showing up, just keep coming back. Be here tomorrow. Be here tomorrow. Alex and I were talking about this earlier. There is a residual. Type of one in the chat if you get what I'm saying when I say this. There is a residual effect that takes place. The compound effect is real when you just keep showing up day in, day out. You may not see the results that you want to see yet, but there is a transformation that's taking place. Like, I'll have conversations with Alex and we're talking. I'm like, how do you even know that? Like, where did you just pull that out of? Like, how did you know that so fast? And it's the residual effect of her just plugging into go live session after go live session, asking questions in the chat. There's a whole community in the go live sessions after the session is over. People talking, people chit chatting, people, asking questions, getting to know one another, seeing what is what. I see it, especially on Kurt and Mike sessions, for example. I'm starting to see it a little bit more in Go Social as well, if you guys know what Go Social is. But I'm saying there is a residual effect that takes place, the compound effect of just doing the work day in and day out, day in and day out. It's not something that I have to think about. It's literally a part of my routine. It's like go live, brushing my teeth. I brush my teeth every day, just like I tune into Go Live. I take trades and observe the charts just like I read my Bible. It's just who I am. And you've got to get to that point. Again, that's going back to your belief. You've got to get to that point where it's so innate. It's repetition. And repetition is the mother of all skill at the end of the day. So things that you will hear, but you yourself, I think at the end of the day, when you go through this compound effect, when you start just showing up, it's things that you will hear that in that moment maybe you weren't ready to hear in 2022, or some of you guys just got started this year. Maybe you didn't catch it right when you got started or within the last few weeks, but maybe in 6 months from now, I don't know, a year from now, 3 months from now, you're going to become aware of it. It's these, you've been here since 2021, 2020, 2018, some of you guys, and maybe now, just now, or within the last year, you're now aware of it. Why? Because growth and change and transformation, it's not always taught. It's caught. Some of y'all heard that before. It's not always taught, it's caught. You have to be aware to even catch what you need to apply and understand. And I think that awareness only comes from repetition. And if you don't have the repetition, again, the consistency, again, the faith to keep showing up, you will always find yourself kind of in this trap, this circle. You're going around and around, and you're not listening, you're not open, you haven't caught the things that you need to have those breakthroughs. And so I can tell you this platform, it's going to give you the education, mark my words. It's going to give you the setups. Crystal talked about it. It's going to give you the examples, the breakdowns, the resources, the tools, the community, everything. But will you think for yourself? Will you think for yourself? Will you do the actual work? Will you learn from your mistakes? Will you self-assess? Will you take inventory of what you're actually doing or not doing? Will you persevere and endure? I feel like that's my favorite word, perseverance. Will you persevere? Will you endure? It's not the outcome, man. It's the character, it's the quality, it's the heart posture, it's the mindset, it's the transformation, it's the renewal of your mind that happens, this process that takes place when you persevere, when you endure. That's faith, man. That's faith. If I quit in 2020 after 4 years of being here, I would, one, not be here, but I would not have seen my trading literally do a full 360. I wasn't ready to receive certain things in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. I was still a baby, man. I had things I needed to learn. I wasn't ready. But if I quit because the going got tough, because my schedule, because work, because this was too much, because I stopped believing, I thought this wasn't gonna pan out for me. I wouldn't have seen my trading literally do a full 360. I would have not seen my portfolio compound from $50 to 500 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 50,000, so on and so forth. We're so quick to find excuses, but why don't we program ourselves to look for the reason to keep going? Because at the end of the day, what you seek is what you find. And I know some of this may not apply to everybody. You're going to pick and kind of choose, not pick and choose. You're going to be open to everything, but some things are going to land where they need to land. Some things are, other things will land for you. And I'm just kind of speaking freely right now. But I think at the end of the day, all the best things, all the great things, type a two in the chat if you agree, all the best things, all the great things, they take time. If you're not willing, write this down, if you're not willing to plant yourself long enough, how do you expect to grow branches that actually reap good fruit, that actually reap the harvest that you're here for? Plant yourself long enough to reap the fruit. Faithfulness will lead to fruitfulness, which will lead and create the growth that is required. The grass is green where you water it. Not over here, not over here, not over here, right here. It's green where you water it. And I think one of the best compliments someone could say to me, to you, whatever it may be, is that you're consistent. I remember Jason Brown, if you guys know Jason, one of the leaders inside of the platform. I remember he would always talk about consistency. One of the best things somebody can say about you is you're consistent. Every day I see you. Every day you show up. You're just there. You're always there. You're always in the chat. You're always on those Go Live sessions. You're always tuning in. There you are again. You're on that call again. You showed up and you're just there. You're at that event. Your consistency is a representation of your faith. And I'm saying this and I'm hoping that it sticks with somebody on this call. Wherever you're at, whatever you're going through, just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. Every day I'm choosing to work through the hard, the good, regardless, no matter what it is. You take away faithfulness, you don't have growth. That's your foundation. The compound of consistency, being faithful. Write this down. Being faithful is not tied to an end goal. I am not faithful only if and only if this outcome, this result takes place. No, I am faithful because it's who I am. Being faithful is not tied to an end goal, but in who you are. And I would go even further to say in whose you are. I know who I am and whose I am. I have faith. My faith is not fear. It's not rooted in the doubt, the lies, the distorted image from the enemy that's trying to poke holes in what God is trying to show you. My faith is rooted in what Christ says about me. And every single day, my faith, and the day that I've been given, and every single day, my faith it's not rooted in an outcome. It's rooted in who I am, and I believe in whose I am. Because if it's, and let me just say this, and then I'm going to move on. Because if your faith is tied to an outcome that you can't control, then your actions and your attitude will be contingent on if something is actually going to happen. If something will happen. I'm only going to do this if this happens. If I don't see this happen by XYZ, I'm not going to do it. That's not faith. That's not faith. If I'm able to follow my plan, I'm like, the work is the goal. Just doing the work on the things that you can actually control, following your plan, plugging into the session, adhering to your schedule. Anytime I was anxious or doubtful, it was because I was not doing the work or I was not doing the right work. I read my Bible every morning, pretty much at the same time. I've got my schedule, but I read my Bible every morning, not because I have an end goal. Sure, I want a deeper relationship and a deeper, greater level of intimacy with God, but I don't read my Bible to get something. I do it because I want to get to know I want to get to know him. I do it because it's who I am, not in what I'm trying to get. You guys get what I'm trying to say? I am showing up day in and day out. Yes, focus on an outcome, not just the goal itself, but because of who I'm becoming, where I'm going, the transformation that's taking place. So here's the deal. At the end of the day, similar idea. I show up to go live. I do the things. Yes, because I want to grow my portfolio, my account, whatever it may be, but that comes from my own personal transformation. The work at the end of the day is the goal. I do it because it's who I am. There will be, mark my words, a residual effect to your consistency, to your faithfulness. Your faithfulness will lead to fruitfulness. And I'm not even talking about financial results. I'm talking about how you will change. Your attitude, your heart, your mind, your thoughts will be transformed, renewed. Your growth, your impact, your effectiveness will change. So that was number one. And these last couple points, I'm gonna kind of ride through these. So be faithful. Second, be teachable. If you don't ground yourself, if you don't humble yourself, if you don't surrender certain things about yourself, I promise you, these markets will humble you. You've got to remove and let go of whatever expectation maybe you came in here having. I had an expectation this past year, like really within the last few months, I started to notice this expectation that I had around my portfolio that I needed to, have XYZ amount, because I have a certain goal in my mind that I want to use that money for. And Mike Sotero, they talk about it all the time on the sessions. Like, don't be shopping with unrealized gains, right? And I had to check myself. How many of y'all have ever done that with your trading, with your investments? Listen, if you haven't learned this already, and maybe you have heard this, but you're not acknowledging it, the market is always right. The market is going to do whatever the market wants to do. The market doesn't owe me, you, nobody anything. This is a game at the end of the day of high probabilities. We establish our plan, we follow our plan, and we don't compromise or deviate or negotiate or justify why we're going to change that. I'm not going to fluctuate my risk to reward, my risk management, my rules just because I see something in the market, just because I feel like this is going to go further than I thought, or because the market's going in the opposite direction. I need to move my stop loss. I need to take my stop loss out. None of that. We follow our plan. This is a game of high probabilities, and I'm just following my plan every single time. You can be expectant that you will get better, but expectations on what you want to happen by this time frame. I can tell you specifically when it comes to trading and investing, because we can't control the market. We can't control the outcome or the result. I can control my efforts. I can control my attitude. I can control what I do on a day-to-day basis. And that's what you've got to focus on. When you start to put expectations on what you want to happen by this amount of time, you're only setting yourself up for disappointment. And I think at the end of the day, every time I set expectations for an outcome without being mindful of the work that's required, the work that's necessary, like we can set goals, but really at the end of the day, your goals will be achieved by what you do every day. And so when I set those expectations for an outcome without recognizing the required work, and sometimes guys, we're in a financial place. Like it takes money to make money, and that's okay. You have to give yourself the time and make sure you're doing the right work. You're not making disastrous mistakes. Like you can follow your plan and things will go accordingly. But at the end of the day, you just have to be mindful of like where you're actually at and what you're actually willing and able to do. So when you set yourself up, because you want to set yourself up for success. And so when I think about these things, when I need it to happen, every time I put myself in that position, I lost miserably. Now you're just operating from a place of lack and desperation. This gotta happen. It's gotta happen. No, it doesn't, man. No, it doesn't. It doesn't need to happen. You just got to continue to show up. There are things that I learned from the last bull run and the previous bull run that I am not applying. Like I am not doing that again from this for this bull run. And there's things that I'm learning right now from this bull run that I may not I didn't fully understand until I'm in it with a different level of capital. And that was the other point I wanted to make, is just like you have to understand what you're willing and able to do on a day-to-day basis, number one, and what type of capital you have to play with. And that's okay if you don't have a lot. I started with $50 in my first investment was in Bitcoin in 2017 when it went to $15,000 and I put $50. I have literally the ticker in my Coinbase. You guys could see. That was my first investment. And over time you start to accumulate more, and as you listen to the educators, you'll know what to do with your money, and you'll start to compound what you have. You'll put it in the right place at the right time, and you'll hold, and you'll know your target. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is you've got to be teachable, and even what Crystal said in the beginning, you've got to follow instructions. You got to do the things that they're telling you to do, following directions. And the other thing that I mentioned previously is, yes, they're giving you these things, but you have to learn how to think for yourself. You have to learn how to critically think about what you're actually doing. Self-assess, take inventory. What needs to change about me? Why am I getting the results that I don't want to be getting? Why am I still repeating the same stuff? Okay. Do you have, and this is the other part about teachability, is do you have more answers or more questions? When I get around other people, we were just in Mexico for the convention that they had in November, and we were around different people, and we got an opportunity to ask questions. And when I get around other people, write this down. Don't waste don't waste that proximity. I don't waste my proximity when I'm in certain rooms or environments or around people. I am asking questions. I am wanting to understand. I am seeking wisdom and, write this down, feedback, perspective. If I'm in a room with somebody that, maybe I have X amount in my portfolio, but I know that this person has double, triple, quadruple that, I am talking to them. Trading account, same thing. Every time I'm asking questions, I am curious. I'm coming from a curious place. I'm hungry. And you should show up to Go Live like that. You should show up to the chats like that. Curious, asking questions. The more you go on this journey, the more you're going to realize how much you don't actually know, how foolish we can actually be, how deceitful our hearts really are, misleading us, misguiding us. We gotta go back to the plan. We gotta go back to the mentorship. I said this earlier today, one of my chats or whatever it was, but mentorship guides your ship. We don't know often. That's why we're here. We don't oftentimes know where to go or what to do, and mentorship is just there to be a guide, guiding your ship in the direction, in the way that you should go. But we still have to think critically. We still have to, reassess things like that. Have a teachable spirit. If you're not teachable, nobody can help you because you've already made up your mind. At the end of the day. So that's number 2. And the last one, real quick, be flexible. I just want to share a quick analogy. Y'all with me? We good? We good? Be flexible. It's the trees. I forget where this is from, but I heard it the other day, and I was like, man, this is so good. Be flexible. It's the trees that can't bend that break in a storm. Going through a storm, bad things, whatever is happening. Think about your reality, what you're going through. You have different things in your personal life. You have your job. You have, your work. You have whatever it may be. Everybody's stuff is probably a little different. It's the trees that cannot bend that break in a storm. Sometimes and I'll get to it right now, but it's the perception, right? It's the lie of the enemy. Okay, the lie of the enemy is that our stubbornness to change, to hang on to our comfort zone, to do what we've always done. It's the lie of the enemy that our stubbornness actually makes us strong. But that's not true. It only gives a perception of strength. It's actually our weakness. Sometimes we can get so caught up in what we've known, what's familiar, what's been normal, what's been so like, just the thing that we've always gone to, that we've always done to get to do things. That's our default. That's our automatic. That's our subconscious, that we don't realize it's actually self-sabotaging us. It's the lie of the enemy that our stubbornness to change, to hang on to our comfort zone, to do what we've always done actually makes you strong. But it only gives the perception of strength. It's actually our weakness. True strength is found in flexibility. True strength is found in flexibility. Anybody that's done gymnastics, dance, I wasn't on the wrestling team, but I did stats for the wrestling team, and those guys are flexible. At least that's what I saw. They know, okay? You guys know what it means to be flexible. True strength is found in your flexibility. It takes a lot of strength to stretch. It takes a lot of strength to stretch yourself. Letting go. Strength is a word, we think muscle, right? But I'm not talking about the physical part of strength, being strong, or even just like the mental, like I've got to power through. Sometimes it's not even about that. Sometimes strength looks like you letting go of something, you getting outside of that comfort zone. You stop doing the things that no longer are working, no longer are going to get you somewhere. The thing is, this journey here, the skill set, the mindset, it does, we all know this, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't get built by operating out of your own strength. It doesn't get built. You don't get the results that you're looking for by operating from your old ways of thinking or your old ways of doing things, still in a mental and in an emotional comfort zone. Sometimes our comfort zone, like, yes, physically, but like, so a lot of times it's mental and emotional. I can attest to that. Thinking the same way, responding in the same way, believing in the same way, doing things the same way. Am I the only one? Y'all with me? That I can like relate to that. Still gripping on. Growth and transformation are going to require you to stretch yourself beyond what you have always known. Being flexible, change, adapt, pivoting, adjusting. It's okay. That's what we do. It's all good. It's not the end of the world. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're going through, whatever you're seeing with your physical eyes is not the end of the world. Have faith, be teachable, be flexible. As you leave this call, hang tight because we're going to do a giveaway here. But as you leave this call, ask yourself if you're still operating from your own understanding. If you're still playing and moving inside of your comfort zone, coming from a place of, I'm complacent. And we don't even realize it sometimes because, everybody's tolerance, everybody's standard, our thermostat is set differently. So it looks different. Somebody could have, I know people that have, 10, 15, $20,000 coming in every single month, and they're complacent because everybody's tolerance it's going to look different. What is what I'm saying? Ask yourself if you're still operating from your own understanding, expecting a different result without yet having truly changed your ways. Don't try to skip steps. If you don't know what to do, I always think about this with my walk with God. But if you don't know what to do the last thing that you were instructed to do. Do the last thing that you were told. If you don't know, just ask. We'll help you. But the last thing I'm going to say, and I think this will give great perspective with just why I'm still here, why a lot of the team has been here for years. People that have been here since 2022, 21, 20, 19, 2018, 2017. Why? There's multitude of reasons, but I can tell you when you plug into these sessions, when you actually show up and are listening with an open heart and an open mind, you are getting real time. Like, that's the huge benefit, man. You are getting real time mindset, perspective, examples, and just really navigation for each, let's say, for example, in investing, for each market cycle. And you also get that with trading too. Real time examples, real time breakdowns, real time mental thinking, how to approach, how to think, how to view, perspective, the market, the charts, your setups, yourself. Not only what to do, but how to think, how to approach what you're actually doing. Kurt Cobain said on a session the other day, you're getting the blueprint, the plan to duplicate success in and out of the markets. But you got to be coachable, teachable. You got to be faithful. You got to be flexible. So I'm going to stop the recording real quick and we're going to do this giveaway. That is the call, guys. I hope that y'all got value.